communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. Whether it's with friends, colleagues, family, or romantic partners, people experience deeper satisfaction as a result of effective communication. This book will explore how you can actively change for the better by replacing dysfunctional habits with new and effective communication skills. There are 3 major roadblock categories. First up, judging. You judge when you criticize, name-call, or diagnose the person you're talking to. In other words, when you play armchair psychologist and analyze their behavior. Judging others also includes praising. Praise may seem innocent, but it can be used to control, manipulate, outmaneuver, or sweet-talk. The second category is sending solutions. There are various ways you send solutions to other people. One is by ordering. That means calling the other person's judgment into question. Another is by threatening, which emphasizes the punishment that will result if the solution you want isn't implemented. Both can diminish your self-esteem when you employ them. The third major roadblock category is avoiding the other's concern. You do this when you divert the conversation to what you want to talk about, keep the other person at an emotional distance with logical responses, or offer reassurance. That last one, reassurance, may come as a surprise, but reassuring someone can be a way to emotionally withdraw from the other person while appearing to be helpful. The author recommends a simplified approach, focusing on small clusters of skills and gaining proficiency in just a few at a time. There are 3 clusters: attending, following, and reflecting. Attending is a way of non-verbally communicating that you sense the importance of what the speaker is saying and that you're committed to trying your best to understand them. Practice attending by assuming a relaxed but alert posture of involvement, in which you face the speaker squarely, leaning forward just slightly. The second cluster, following, is about staying out of the speaker's way so you can find out how they view the situation. This means paying attention to nonverbal cues that suggest they have something on their mind, as well as sending non-coercive invitations to talk, or door openers. A door opener could be describing the other person's demeanor back to them. The third cluster, reflecting, use minimal encouragement to facilitate their self-exploration. Without agreeing or disagreeing. Say things like, "Tell me more, I see," and "Really?" Don't follow up with closed questions, which only invite a specific, short response. Instead, use open questions, like, "What's on your mind?" These give the other person space to express their thoughts. You practice reflective listening when you exhibit the following listening skills: paraphrasing, reflecting feelings, reflecting meaning, and summative reflection. Paraphrasing is when the listener relays the essence of the speaker's content in their own words. A paraphrase is concise, cuts through the clutter, and focuses on the speaker's central message. Reflecting feelings, on the other hand, is when the listener relays the emotional crux of the speaker's message. Reflecting meaning is when the listener combines the feelings and facts they've gleaned from the speaker's message and provides a succinct response. Finally, a summative reflection is when you briefly restate the main themes and feelings of a longer conversation. The listener ties together the most important fragments of the conversation, allowing the speaker to zoom out and understand themselves more clearly. If effective listening can be described as offering understanding and acceptance to another person, asserting is when you disclose your own needs, emotions, and desires. To begin practicing assertive communication, start sending 3-part assertion messages. The first part of this kind of message should include an objective, specific, non-judgmental description of the behavior you're asking the other person to change. So instead of saying, when you don't pull your weight around the house, you could try, when you don't clean up after yourself in the kitchen. The second part is sharing your feelings. For example, I feel annoyed. Finally, clarify exactly how the other person's behavior affects you. That might sound something like, because it makes more work for me before I start cooking. The first step is to write out the assertion message in advance, making sure it's brief, appropriate, and non-blaming. When it's time to send the message, don't engage in small talk. Step 2 is to get right down to business. Your body language should demonstrate seriousness, but also respect, for the other person. Once you've sent your concise, respectful assertion message, stop. That's step 3. Give the other person a moment of silence to think about what you said. Let them express their defensiveness. Next, it's time for step 4, practice reflective listening. When defensiveness is reflected with respect, it typically subsides. After you've gone through the first 4 steps, you're ready for step 5, cycling through the process again. It typically takes 3 to 10 cycles before the other person truly understands and is willing to find a way to meet your needs. Finally, step 6 is to focus on the solution by making sure the other person's proposal meets your needs, and by speaking up if it doesn't. If you're satisfied with the solution, paraphrase it back to the other person. Then arrange a future time to check in and make sure it's working. First, treat the other person with respect. Then, listen until you can empathize with them, which becomes possible as you reflect feelings, content, and meaning. Finally, briefly state your own views, needs, and feelings. The conflict resolution method helps diffuse tension and allows both parties to release pent-up emotions, which usually subside quickly. One or both persons may change their minds, and even if they agree to disagree, their emotional bond is often strengthened. Now, if you're dealing with a conflict of needs, you'll want to use the collaborative problem-solving method. Collaborative problem-solving requires use of all the communication skills you've learned thus far, listening skills, assertion skills, and, finally, the conflict resolution method. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more book discussions.